Kuzu Zampo and a very warm welcome to all our viewers. This is BBS Channel 2 and I am Karma Dendrup, your host for the next 1 hour. This is Jangchub Shing, your weekly dose of Buddhism. We are 24/7 now, so should you miss any of our programs, we would like to inform you that you can catch the programs the following day. For our program schedule, log on to our website www.bbs.bt/bbs2. For those of you who are watching this program for the first time, what we do on this show is that we discuss Buddhist truths with Buddhist masters, practitioners and scholars in an effort to better comprehend the vast and timeless Buddha Dharma. Without further ado, the topic of our discussion on this program is an insight into Buddhist truths and a Buddhist perspective on youth-related problems. And our guest speaker on this very special episode is His Eminence Gyalwa Dokhampa. Welcome to our show.
Thank you very much.
Before I start with my questions, is there any opening remark that Rinpoche would like to make?
Yes, actually, first I want to thank the BBS and the team, and especially the Jangchub Shing team for doing this kind of show. I have been watching this for the few times and I've been very kind of felt it is something very meaningful, especially the analyze and realize. Because Buddha said that you have to learn that, listen to the teaching, then analyze and you will realize yourself. It's very good. But at the same time, I must also confess that I feel a little bit the hot seat to be on this interview because last time I think you interviewed Jangchub Shing,
Yes,
who is a great master, and compared to him, I myself I am very young in experience, lacking in knowledge, so I feel a bit of hot seat. But at the same time, I am fortunate that with the kindness of His Majesty, His Eminence Gyalwa, I was able to study in Tango, meet many great teachers, also receive some teaching from His Eminence Gyalwa themselves. So with not confidence in myself, but in confidence in my teacher, I would like to share a little bit of knowledge I have with the hope that it will help the youth a little bit.
Yes, I'm sure it will. And thus, to get the ball rolling, my signature tune on Jangchub Shing is, it starts with a Om and a Ah and there is a Hum. And after the Om, I have assigned a question which the idea is that the viewer asks themselves. The question is, who is the Buddha? And although I've asked this question to many of my guests, every guest has given an interesting new facet or a new angle to who the Buddha was. So my first question to Rinpoche is, who is the Buddha?
I will say that we always have to understand two Buddha. One is the inner Buddha and outer Buddha. So inner Buddha will be one's own clear and empty nature of one's own mind. That is the Buddha. And because Buddha Shakyamuni or Buddha Guru Padma Sambhava, these Buddha realize the clear and empty nature of the mind, then they become Buddha. So because they have realized it, they are so-called, and they are separate from us right now. So we call them the outside Buddha or external Buddha. We pray to them, take refuge. But ultimately we do it, we take refuge in the three external Jevu so that we will realize the Buddha Dhamma within ourselves. So I will say it is, more of one's own nature of the mind.
That's Rinpoche. Although there is 84,000 volumes and some say that there is more also which make up the Buddha's word and commentaries on his timeless Dharma. And I'm sure that everything we discuss over the length of this program would be Dharma. But if Rinpoche would be so kind as to share with the viewers a condensed essence of what the Buddha expressed.
From what I understand, I think the condensed essence of what all the Buddha taught is basically that one should not be doing negative deeds, negative karma, which is the source of suffering. And one should be accumulating positive deeds, means beneficial deeds. That is the source of happiness for us and others. And both the negative and positive karma are result from the mind. So one should be taming your mind. So I think these three, that is why I think we say Dikpachiyang Mijashing, Gyawa Pesum Sokbarcha, Rangisem Nyonsu Dini Sangi Tembayin. Or the fourth Pema Karpo said that Dikpong Gitu Rangisem Dewa Shiva Karpo Chugi Tudamka. So that is, I think, the very essence. Actually, last time I was in the Bodh Gaya. So I was thinking that we were doing our traditional Vajrayana, Don, Jaling and all of that. And there was, I think on the other side, there was a Sri Lankan, they were doing other things. Bangladesh Buddhists they were doing. And Thai, they were carrying some flowers and going around. So I was thinking that if I was a new Buddhist or newcomer, it would look like are they all really Buddhist, or are they like totally, like different religion? But then I was thinking then I remembered this essence, and I was thinking that if you go to a Thai monk and ask, are you trying to purify negative karma? Are you trying to accumulate merit? Are you trying to transform your mind? They have to say yes. You go to Bangladesh, the same answer. They cannot say no to these three. So I think these three are the essence, in my opinion.
It was made known to me through Rinpoche's office that Rinpoche pays special attention to culture, spiritual heritage, and the youth. And although each of these topics or issues could be understood in many different ways, if Rinpoche would be kind to share with us and the viewers, what aspect of culture is Rinpoche interested in?
I think about a few years ago, I was in Ladakh. Nice. There also, we have a lot of monasteries that are related to Drupal lineage, so we do a lot of work there. So one of the Ladakhi, he's quite a, well-known person in Ladakh. So he was telling me that why is Buddhist teachings are so simple, Buddha's message are so simple, why do we have this so many different lineages, tradition? Why can't we just make it one and so simple? Yes. So I was kind of sharing with my friend that the fact that in the Buddhist teaching we have different traditions and different lineages is not something negative but something positive. It shows that how great a teacher or how great a doctor the Buddha is. I always joke that if you go to a doctor who is not very knowledgeable or lazy, he'll probably, whatever complaint, stomach complaint, heart complaint, he'll just give you a painkiller and send you back. But a great doctor will give you different medicines. So similarly like that, and I think these different sort of makes the Buddhist teaching more rich. And I was giving example, for example, Ladakh has a very beautiful culture, influenced by maybe from the Tibet or whatever, but it has its own unique culture, values. And I was saying that because if you preserve this culture and the tradition, you are making the whole of India rich. Because India has so many different culture. If you lose one of the Ladakhi culture, it is lost to the entire nation of India. And because you have such a beautiful culture, many people from far away come to see Ladakh, not because of its modern building, but because of the culture. And on top of that, the places like Ladakh, Bhutan, if you look back, the culture are not just like something that is handed down without any reason made up, but these are deep significant reasons behind this culture. Either it shows respect to the parent, or it shows the caring toward the younger generation, a sense of relationship, the respect between the friendship relationship, husband, wife. The cultures are very much, there's a spiritual significance behind it. So I think preserving these cultures and traditions, I think it is something that is like, not only is it, for example, Bhutan, I guess it's preserving the Bhutan's culture, and it's something like a patriotic, and also protecting the national identity, because Bhutan is something very unique. Yes. But more than that, I think it is also like making sure that the whole world doesn't lose something so beautiful. Yes. That like the 7 colors of the rainbow, that one color is not lost. That is how I look at it.
So when Rinpoche is speaking about culture, Rinpoche is not just speaking about the Buddhist culture, which is pretty many people would argue that in Bhutan, the Bhutanese culture is synonymous with Buddhist culture. So Rinpoche is speaking about even relationships between parents and children, husbands and wife, siblings.
Yes. How that has been, for example, but I'm thinking that maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I feel that traditions and culture which is influenced by Buddhism is a little bit more deeper. Yes. And it will lead to harmony. Yes. For example, in our tradition we have saying that we should respect the elder. But elders should also cannot abuse their respect, but with the loving kindness, look after the younger generation. Yes. This is our culture, and with this culture, it will create harmony.
Last Rinpoche. Then Rinpoche's other interests being spiritual heritage. So if Rinpoche could share something on that as well.
On the spiritual heritage, of course, I am not very learned, but from what little I've learned, what teachings I've, studied, I've come, undeniable fact that I've learned is that all the teachings in the Buddhist traditions, whether it's the Theravada, Mahayana, Vajrayana, all of them are equally wonderful. There is no saying that, you cannot even say that Theravada is not good, Mahayana is better. Because different teachings is suited for different types of people. Like you cannot say like, 1,000 mg aspirin is better, you must eat it regardless of whether you need it or not, right? So I have come to deep kind of believe that all the traditions, all the lineage equally will lead you to enlightenment, equally in terms of blessing. But because of that very reason, that there is no difference in blessings, that they are all great, I think that country like Bhutan should know its own spiritual heritage. Right? Because if one tradition is better than other, then we can forget Bhutan can forget its own spiritual heritage and say that is better. But because there's no difference, I think Bhutan should preserve it. And I think for Bhutan, from my perspective, I think Bhutan's main spiritual heritage is two. One is the second Buddha, Guru Padma Sambhava, came to Bhutan, blessed all the holy places, kept the treasure, subdued a lot of negative spirit. And and as anyone who is a Vajrayana practitioner cannot say that I do not have devotion to Guru Padma Sambhava. And so I think from Guru Rinpoche's the great kindness to Bhutan and his teaching, his lineage, which is now known as Nyingmapa lineage, that is, I think, undeniable spiritual heritage of Bhutan. Every place you go, that's the one. Second is, I think, the Chenrezik, we say, the Chenrezik in human form, the Shabdru Rinpoche Ngon Namgyal. He came to Bhutan as prophesied. He united the country, gave the culture, language, something that is totally distinct from all the neighboring countries. And I think also that is the reason why the name, the Drukpa, also the lineage name got stuck to the people. And now we know as Palden Drukpa. Right? This is the only country. So it is so these two, I think, the remembering the kindness of the Guru Padma Sambhava, Shabdru Rinpoche, and these two, I feel that Bhutanese should cherish this. Not to think that our spiritual heritage is greater than others, but that we owe so much of a debt to these great masters. And this is our culture, our belief is very intertwined with these two. And also, if you think about it, I don't think it was easy to bring this spiritual heritage. Nowadays, we have to build one monastery. How much of effort? So how much it was effort taken masters of these two lineages to come here, develop the tradition, the monastery. So it is very kind of ungrateful of us also if we do not, I wouldn't want, if I have leave any spiritual legacy, I will hopefully that people also, preserve it. So that is my kind of understanding. And also I believe that it is not that other spiritual traditions are not good or anything. In terms of blessing, they are same. But Bhutan being a small country, there may be a lot of confusion if you don't appreciate the spiritual heritage. That is just my view.
And in line with what Rinpoche spoke to us about spiritual heritage as well as culture, Jangchub Shing is also a show along those directions, so that our youth and the Bhutanese public in large can at least comprehend what our culture is and what our spiritual heritage is. Now with regard to youth, this show, although once it goes on air, it is open to viewing for all, but it is primarily targeted for the youth of Bhutan, who one feels is caught in a storm of confusion with an ancient culture and tradition in one hand and unchecked onslaught of the World Wide Web and television on the other. What message or advice can Rinpoche offer to the youth who are indulging specifically in substance abuse or overall to lessen their confusion? Any advice from Rinpoche?
Since I've been staying in Bhutan quite a number of years, I've known that this youth issue has been going on for a while. And I don't want to generalize it and kind of be a know-all, because when somebody else is going through a tooth pain, no matter how much we sympathize, we really cannot understand what is going through until you are having the tooth pain. So I don't want to act a know-all. But maybe, myself also being relatively young, little bit of knowledge Dharma, maybe it will help, if I can share my view. I feel that one of the reasons nowadays in the modern society there's a bit of discontent is because we don't realize, everybody doesn't realize how beautiful they are, how beautiful their culture are, how beautiful their dresses are, in their own way. For example, just a few days back, I was in the Jingmen Polytechnic, the school. I was joking with them that if you really think about it, there's no very good logical reason saying that jean is more fashionable than Go and Kira. Yes. Except that, of course, America became much developed before. They have a strong media influence. If Bhutan was the one that was developed so far, probably most of the world will be wearing Go and Kira now. Yes. But then, since we don't have the kind of that sort of, if we cannot appreciate, for example, Bhutanese house designed, Bhutanese dress, how Bhutanese looks, we cannot appreciate how beautiful Bhutan already is. That everybody who comes to Bhutan, they always say how beautiful it is. If we cannot see that ourselves, and top of that, influenced by what the television says, right? Television does not say you should look like Bhutanese, probably say you should look like, I don't know, Amir Khan, or some Korean superstar, or I don't know, Bollywood. So of course, then Goikira is no longer enough. Bhutanese house is no longer good enough. So when it is not enough, then the discontent comes. So when the discontent comes, then you feel, oh, I'm very poor, I don't have enough. Then, I think you want to, I don't know, we want so many things. Maybe that is also the why I guess the world economy is doing well, because people here want there and they want here, then they're the commerce, I guess. But that's also how the consumption, materialism, and also discontent. So it's not enough that, you have a phone, you must have a latest. And latest is not enough also, you must have the very latest. So there's no end to. So then when you don't have that, somebody has it, you feel sense of discontent, you feel you are not good enough. So I think the media influences a lot. And if you really think about it, this advertisement, there's no really a good logic. Like I was saying, is there any good logic saying the jeans is very fashionable? Is there no real logic?
They reinforce the discontent.
Yes. I mean, if Brad Pitt wears Go, I'm sure, everybody will be wearing Go. That is the only logic, that Brad Pitt wears Go, and I don't know, Angelina Jolie wears Kira. So now we should, other than there's not much logic. So that is, I think, one of the reasons. Then I think, of course, I'm sure there are many other reasons, but another thing is that I do not know actually we say in the normal terms or not, but in our Vajrayana tradition, we have a saying that when somebody says, we usually say, no, but in our Vajrayana, we say, when people say, you have to say it. So I was thinking that actually it makes a psychological sense. Because, for example, in terms of richness, when you say you are rich and you feel it, you are. You look around at people who have known nothing at all, you feel, oh, I am rich. You look at somebody who has much, much more than you, you feel you are poor. And when they look at us, they feel rich. They look at themselves. So it is very much a conditioning, conceptual thing. So I think if you realize it, I think you'll be a little bit more content. So I think then it will kind of help a little bit with that dissatisfaction. And in terms of substance abuse, I think sometimes we are going into substance abuse because influenced by friends. And sometimes we feel that it will help to solve the problems. But I think, at the end of the day, when you use something which is addictive, makes you feel good for a short time, and then when you wake up in the morning, problems are there. On top of that, you have got migraine or something hangover. But then at the same time, I wouldn't say that addicts should be looked down in the society at the same time, because from the Chö point of view, we are all addicts. The definition addict is, no control over it, doesn't solve any problem, makes it worse, but make you feel good. So that can be said for the anger also. When you're angry, it makes you feel good, doesn't solve any problem, makes things worse, and jealousy. So in that way, from Buddhist point of view, we are all addicts. So there's no need to look down upon them, I feel. Also, I think we say that whenever we are being compassionate to others, be compassionate to yourself. Otherwise, we become a little bit proud, I am not addict, they are addict. But from Buddhist point of view, as I was saying, we are all addict. Just that, they are substance, we are negative emotion addict.
Message or advice to youth who are unemployed and frustrated Anything that Rinpoche would like to share along maybe viewers, youth who are at home watching this program and they're unemployed, they're frustrated, and I can just imagine what they must be feeling, and when one is unhappy, every direction you look at there is unhappiness. So anything that Rinpoche can share on that?
Again, as I was saying earlier, that it's very hard to generalize something, because some of the youth, maybe they are unemployed and they're unhappy because they want to, I don't know, they are not satisfied with what they have. I mean, it can be like that. Or it can be that maybe they are satisfied, but they are not satisfied that it is not good enough for their parent. Yes. Maybe they love their parents so much, or their family, and that is why they are feeling unhappy. Yes. So it's very hard to generalize saying it's because of the, I don't know, media or whatever, they're not satisfaction, and they are all, because it's very hard to say that. I will still like to offer some of my views that at the end of the day, happiness and sadness, both of these are something to do with the mind. It's the mind that experience. So I think if you can change the way we look at the things, I think it will help a little bit. For example, I have been traveling to different parts of the world, and whenever I go to the different parts of the world, when I tell them about how Bhutan is, we have the the philosophy of the GNH, and when I tell them that His Majesty has granted land to every Bhutanese citizen, that right now there is nobody in Bhutan who doesn't have a land, they can't believe that such a leader exists. I mean, it's beyond their thinking. And so when you look at Bhutan, not from being in Bhutan, but from relative to outside, we have much less crime. I think we have almost no major crimes happening. Our human beings are right now Bhutanese. I would say in general that Bhutanese people are very kind. I'm not saying they're Buddha, of course not, but relatively speaking, Bhutan is very kind. It's a safe place. We have a great leader. We have great lams, like His Eminence Gyalwa and many other great masters. I think there's many things to be happy about it. And I was saying back earlier that since His Majesty has kindly, I think, granted the land to everybody, it is not like we don't have no option at all. Right? At the end of the day, I think we can go back and be a farmer. Right? And I think educated farmer will probably make things very, I think, might do something that is organic, that is fashionable, very profitable also. I don't know economy very much. So, but I do hear in the television now and then that people are worried about our money going out of country. We have to buy a lot of things. So it seems that in that way, being a farmer might also be service to the nation. Yes. So I'm thinking when you look at it from that point of view, if you just look at it from your own suffering, then the whole world looks very negative. Yes. So that's why I always tell my friend that when you're feeling bad, always go to Sangjekang and you look down at all the houses. They have their own problems, each. So if you look at that and you look at the rest of the world and compare to Bhutan, what great leaders we have, teachers we have, how peaceful it is, and nobody's dying of hunger. We all have options. Yes. So when you think of all of that, I think not that reason to be depressed from my point of view.
Rinpoche is sharing with us that we can in fact use the television rather than focusing so much more on the commercials, which furthers your discontent, but to maybe look at CNN, see where there is problem in the rest of the world, and maybe feel a sense of consolation. And I think the biggest message that the youth can take from what Rinpoche shared is the fact that at the end of the day, it's not a dead-end road, exactly. That there is always the land which His Majesty has graciously, in His wisdom, given to the people. So there's always the option of organic farming.
Exactly. And that is such a good business. Very expensive, I mean. No, you go abroad, organic products are extremely expensive.
Rinpoche, depression and suicide are on the rise nationwide in Bhutan. And although Rinpoche, in your vast wisdom, has shared with us and offered us a fresh perspective of what we already have here in Bhutan in comparison to the world, there is this suicide and depression is rising. So what can Rinpoche, again, maybe with specific focus on suicide, what can Rinpoche share with us?
Thank you very much for asking that, because this is something very important to me. Because in Bhutan, when I hear of students suiciding themselves, killing themselves. I feel very sad because, firstly, because of the tragedy of the, that itself, tragedy. Second is because we being a Buddhist country, in a Buddhist country, as a Buddhist, suicide is not the end of the problem because we believe in the next life, pardo. So let's imagine that you think that at the end of your problem you kill yourself, and then you realize you wake up in a pardo and you can see all your family members crying, shedding tears, and then there's next life. It's not end of the problem, maybe beginning of another problem. So, and also it is said that in the Vajrayana point of view, killing oneself is equal to killing a Buddha, because within ourselves there is a Buddha. And from the Mahayana, they say if you kill yourself, you have to kill yourself 500 times. So it's a very, from negative karma point of view, it's a very, the spiritual point of view, is very something negative and doesn't solve anything. But more than that, from practical point of view, whenever I meet the students, I always tell them that whenever you make a decision in life, we should always do it with the wisdom and compassion together. So for example, when the students kill themselves because they didn't do well in exam, and because they love their parents so much, parents have so much hope and expectation, expenses, and they can't face it. So do the children have love? They have love. Love for their children, that's why they can't bear to face them. But do they have the wisdom? Definitely not. Because yes, it is true that the parents will be very upset for 1 or 2 months, but if you kill yourself, the parent will be suffering for the entire life. Even if you cannot become a graduate, first of all, that doesn't mean that you may not be successful. I heard that Albert Einstein failed his class 8 or something and still become genius. There are many businessmen like that. And even if you cannot become a great businessman and success, as long as when your parents are getting old, you can be there to love them, take care of them. At the end of the day, that's what we all need, love and care. So that shows that love is there, but wisdom is not there. Wisdom to see far beyond, and the consequences of our actions. And I think some kill because of relationship problems, right? Because of, boyfriend, girlfriend problem. That also, again, love is there. But I think the wisdom is not there very much. From the Buddhist point of view, first of all, I think that Buddhist point of view, you have to know that every relationship is bound to separate sooner or later, is impermanent, right? At the end of the day, even if it's 30 years. Second is that not only is physical separation, but emotionally also, relationship is impermanent. Even if you are successfully coupled for 50 years, does not mean that your relationship is not impermanent, because relationship is emotion. Emotion is thoughts. Every second our thoughts are changing. So relationships are always constantly changing, maybe deeper, maybe not so deep. It is something that cannot be, by nature it is impermanent nature. We don't have that wisdom. Also, we don't have the wisdom that relationships are one of the great source of being happy, definitely. But it is one of the source. After you have relationship, if you don't have a job, if you don't have family, if you don't have some spiritual sense of the contentment, you cannot be happy. It is one of the important things in life. It's not the whole thing. But the most importantly, I feel, is that, again, it sounds like I'm criticizing the media, but what I really mean is that the thinking of how the love is portrayed in a modern way. For example, I myself also for a long time, I really was taught that there must be something called that true love. Modern says like, and the image of true love that we are taught when we read books and all of that, I've learned from the books. It said that true love will be somebody who is perfect for you, no flaw at all. So who will everything you are taught, everything will match. So when you really think about it, that sounds like a sangje. Is the sangje. So unless you are fortunate enough to meet a Buddha or something, I don't think there is anybody in this world that's that perfect. So I think from my point of view, I think that whether it's true love or a good relationship, it's not between two perfect couple, but two imperfect people who accept each other's fault, forgives other, they leave the room for understanding and forgiveness. So again, all of these wisdoms are needed. Otherwise, probably we'll be searching for true love throughout the life, never meeting one. Or we can make one.
So Rinpoche shared with us about the fact that, and I think because we were speaking about the youth, and when you are young, you tend to look at things in a very fatalistic manner. As you get older and you've been in one or two failed relationships, then you tend to understand that, oh, love is not really defined, constricted to one person, because you tend to feel that attraction to somebody else as well. On a serious note, again, we spoke about suicide and depression, and Rinpoche very wisely touched upon the fact that if you were alone on this planet, then it might be a different matter, but you have family, and you have brothers, you have sisters. So my next question to Rinpoche is, while it's sad that somebody kills himself or herself over relationships, maybe studies, maybe things not happening properly, the people who are left behind, the family members, the father, the mother, the brother, the sister, husband, wife, children, any words of consolation from Rinpoche to them?
Again, I would like to speak one from a Buddhist point of view, second from practical point of view. From Buddhist point of view, we believe in a lejumde. We believe that as long as there is some connection between us, we can help the person even after they have died. So that is why I feel that, I don't know whether people really realize it or not, because it's so much part of our tradition, but the ceremonies that we do when people die, it gives a great sense of closure to us. I've met many people who says that they feel like something like they couldn't have maybe not good enough relationship, and they couldn't do anything later for their loved. So that's why they always feel sense of, I don't know, like couldn't do something for people they love and regret. And it haunts them for many years. I've met many of them. And when I ask them to do some prayer for a death, there's a big transformation in them. So as a Buddhist, we believe in a lejumde, we believe in the blessing of Buddha. So I think we should definitely believe that even the people we love has passed away, definitely we will be helping them by doing those prayers, by giving to the poor, helping other sentient beings, doing our practice and dedicating them. And it will give us, it will help them also, it will give you also a sense of a closure. You can still do something for the people you have loved. I myself, I lost my mother when I was 11 years old. But even now, every time I go to a pilgrimage, I remember her. I dedicate my prayers to her. It gives me a sense of joy, and hopefully it will benefit her also. But I feel that. That is from the Chö point of view, it's like that. From practical point of view, I think that after doing all the things necessary from spiritual point of view to the loved one, doing whatever, it is important to get over it. Because I don't think that even though you may have lost one son or a daughter, you have other children, you have wife, you have husband, other people. If you get obsessed over one thing for the sake of one person, you will be causing suffering to many other people in your life. You will probably be not giving them enough love, attention. You will also be forgetting to appreciate that they are in your life. And as a Buddhist, we believe also that there is a pardo. So in the pardo also, when they see the people we love are going through so much suffering caused by them, I don't think they will be very happy. So I think that from practical point of view also, once you have done everything to get over it, to forgive yourself, know that nobody in the world can control others' destiny. We all are, the ownership of our own karma. Maybe it's our negative karma that we are going through this suffering, but it's not our doing that other person, it is their own kind of, the karma. So I think we should get over it. Also, look around the people who are in our life and make sure that we appreciate them. This should be a lesson to love and care for the people who are in our life more. That I think should be the focus. Otherwise, I have heard, and that sometimes these suicide and this event destroys the relationship, existing relationships of the family. I've heard about that. I don't know in Bhutan, but in general, I've heard about that. That's my suggestion.
Rinpoche, that's pretty much youth-related questions that I have now. My next question to Rinpoche is Tendrel. And this is something which I am really interested in. And the truth of interdependence, some call it dependent arising. If Rinpoche would be so kind as to share something on that, as my limited reading and study of this has only confused me further than make me understand this.
I mean, I cannot also claim to be the expert on them, then I will become Buddha, but I will be the Buddha. But a little bit of understanding I have, if I may share with you. If I put it very simply, Tendel is what makes Ematatsi. Because to make Ematatsi, you need cheese, chili, butter, firing pan. So when all of this comes together, then it becomes a Ematatsi. So Ematatsi is dependent on chili, butter, cook all of that. So that is the basically saying that similarly how Ematatsi is, cannot have its own identity, its own existence. But for Ematatsi to exist, it has to depend on cheese, butter, and chili. Similarly, every phenomenon in this world, whether it is a house, whether it is a sound, whether it's emotions, concepts, are also due to so many cause and conditions coming together and making it look so solid. So that is also the reason why we say, because in order to make Ematatsi has no existent inherent entity, chili is so important. The right salt is so important. Cheese is so important because it is no inherent existent. Similarly, since in this world everything comes about because of cause and condition, that's why karma is so important. So as much as chili and cheese are important in Ematatsi, so is cause and condition, which are the karma. That is how the lay jumde comes into effect.
Further follow-up on Tende would be, how is this understanding? Of course, I think this needs further study subjectively for oneself, but how is the truth of Tende supposed to help me or an individual?
This, about 1 or 2 years ago, I went to Risum Gompa in Tashiangtsen. So Risum Gompa is one of the very holy places in the east, and it has many beautiful murals. The Tokje Pasam teaching is supposed to be the most beautiful in the Bhutan. So just below that Risum Gompa Gine, there is Zambala, the Buddha of the wells, the holy place. And then after I prostrated, and they said that you should collect a little bit of earth from the dirt from the stone, and then you should check what is inside. If you can see some hair, especially yak or horse, that means you have got a ngudup of the yak ngudup. So you'll have a lot of yaks or a lot of horses. So I was telling them that I hope I don't get the ngudup like that, yak and ngudup horse, because in this modern time, where can I keep the yak and horse? I have no place to keep. But my point is that 40, 50 years ago, the definition of a successful man is how many yaks you have, how many horses you have, how many paddy fields you have. Nowadays, the wealthiest people, that is not the definition. The wealthiest people probably doesn't have single yak also. All of his wealth is probably digitized or in credit card or even maybe paper money nowadays. So that means that concept of the wealth has changed. So what has changed is that in the olden days, the concept of the wealth is yaks and the rice fields and all of that. So that was because of the many conditions, right? Conceptual society condition, over the change, media, whatever, all of these conditions came together. Now the concept of the wealth is something entirely different. So that shows that even the definition of success is conditional. It's like the Ematatsi. You need all of these conditions come together, then so-called idea of success. So when you understand that, I think you will be a little bit less fanatical about success. The success is also very much conceptual thing. It is not something that is fixed. At that 50 years ago, having yaks and all of that, they were very rich in their own concept, society's concept. That's true. Now they are not. What has changed? Has a yak changed? Nothing. The concept has changed. The conditions have changed. So similarly, the fashion. Why is it that every year fashion changes? Because the condition changes, the chili, the cheese, all of this changes, so the ematasi is changed. So if you understand that, what is the benefit is that I think you will be a little bit less fanatical. Otherwise, if you, let's say this year, you are not fortunate enough to look like a Korean boy or girl, doesn't matter. It's a conditional thing. Next year, the fashion might be, you might look like a Bhutanese boy and girl. Then you will be right in the fashion. So I don't think that much of fanaticism, and that much of pride also, actually. Like once in school, I was talking about what is the Buddhist view on the wealth in Buddhism. So I was saying, from Mahayana point of view, the wealth should be used for the benefit of others. From the Vajrayana point of view, that to understand wealth as a concept is the Vajrayana's view. 100 years ago, a rich person will be going on a horse. Everybody was saying, wow, what a great horse. Nowadays, a rich person goes on a horse in the middle of the street. Everybody will be laughing at him. Now you have to go on a BMW or something. That is the concept. So Vajrayana practitioner should always remember that even though he's going in a BMW, he's basically going on a 21st century version of a horse. There's nothing to be proud about it. He can use it, whatever, but nothing to proud, nothing to attach about it. So it helps in kind of not being so grasping, I think.
And literally also, should I eat the imadasi, and should it be hot or should it have less salt? Then I shouldn't get so angry that some ingredient was missing there. Alas. Now to touch upon this timeless truth, Tongbani and Shunyata, and in English, emptiness. And although one of the guests on my show went on to say that emptiness is, Dr. Robert Thurman saying that it's not a good word to define it. He said freedom is a more better translation for Tongbani. Although I fear that there is no short answer, anything that Rinpoche can share on this timeless truth?
Yes, I think the Tongbani, emptiness directly, is, I think, a little bit of misunderstanding. One of the things I've heard some of my teachers say is that we should understand that things doesn't exist as they appear to be. So solid, so independent. But basically, when we talked about ematasi, we already talked about emptiness.
Yes, I was thinking that, but for our viewers, just tuning in.
Because, I don't know, I heard in Switzerland, I've never ate, but there's a food called fondue, I believe it's made of cheese also. So I was just imagining, playing to myself, that I was talking to myself and some friends about the emptiness of ematasi, emptiness of fondue to the Westerners. So I was saying, let's say that you are making an ematasi. You have put everything, but you forgot to put the chili, and instead you put maybe a sugar. So your ematasi has instead become fondue now. So that shows that ematasi is empty of its own nature. It's a conditional thing. So because of that, now you are no longer eating ematasi, you are eating something Swiss. Or maybe Swiss person, he's making a fondue, but because, I don't know, by mistake he put chili, and now his fondue has become ematasi. So that shows that ematasi doesn't have its own inherent existence. So similarly, like that, whether it is, for example, one of the things I think we can talk about is like a becoming, like a power, right? Power, status symbol, power. This is something, a very great example of interdependence and emptiness. Because, for example, when American presidents put to the vote, they win the election, become president. Just 1 hour before they are ordinary citizen, after a few minutes of putting the vote, they become president. If you check their blood, I don't think there's any change in the blood, nothing. But because of the cause and condition, most important condition is the collective concept of the society that he is the president. And he also feels, yes, I am the president. So he's become the president. After 5 years, I don't know, people concept change. 1 minute he was, next second he is not. Yes. That exactly shows how conditional can create a power. And because it is conditional, it has no inherent existence. Yes. So I don't think there's need for us to be very much proud about conditional things. Maybe conditionally you are very famous in America, but outside America you are nobody. Nice. So there's nothing to be proud about it, right? Nice. You can utilize it for the benefit of others, or in a positive way, but there's nothing to be kind of getting puffed about it, I feel.
So emptiness would be that there is no ima datsi separate from the ima, the datsi, the chili, the tomatoes. The law or the truth of karma. What could Rinpoche share with us on this amazing insight of the Buddha, and how is it different? Rinpoche would like to refrain from speaking about in comparison to Hinduism also, but should Rinpoche choose also, because Hinduism also has karma, so if anything that Rinpoche can share on.
I cannot specifically talk about Hinduism because of the mere fact that I have not studied Hinduism. But I can speak that generally from what I understand in this world, I think I always say that there's a three view. Some people believe in a creator, that how the world is made, what is happening to you, what might going to happen to you. You might be getting married, you might be having problems, you might be having happy life. Why are you born with, I always joke, that very beautiful eyes but very big nose. Why are you? I'm talking in general. So all these whys, I believe in the world there's three sort of belief. Some believe that it is somebody up there controls it. Our Buddhists also, I think they have this mistaken understanding that it's the Guru Rinpoche that is controlling our fate. I don't think that is right to say, because then if you have a problem also we have to complain to Guru Rinpoche. If you have diarrhea also, why did Guru Rinpoche send us diarrhea? So I don't think that is anyway, that's not the Buddhist view, right? And whatever other religions have it, we respect it, but that's not the Buddhist view. Second view is that there's no cause and condition, there's no God, nothing. So one is creator, one is like nihilistic, believe nothing. So if you believe in nothing also, then life itself doesn't make sense. What is the point of study? Because by the cause of studying, if you're not going to learn, what is the point of creating condition to go to Thimphu? You might end up in Paro. There is no cause and condition. Everything is chance. Some people believe like that. Now as we Buddhists, we believe that it is not somebody up there controlling us. Buddhas are there to teach us, bless us, unconditionally love us. But everything that is happening to us externally is because of the result of our own actions and thought. Our own actions and thought, because of past life, because of present life, creates the condition for whatever we are experiencing. For example, if I'm a very short-tempered person, I'm having a relationship problem with my friend, I cannot blame Guru Rinpoche. I cannot say it is accident. I have to blame my anger, my negative emotion within me. So I have to tame that. So that when I try to tame that, I'm following the Lejumde, cause and effect. So that is the Buddhist view, is not believe in the creator, not in the accident, but that we ourselves, what is happening to us is individually cause and condition of past and present. What is happening to collectively is the collective cause and conditions, such as environmental problems that we are facing is collective, the result of collective karma.
Rinpoche, my next question is about, this is again in relation to the deceased. With regard to how much it costs people, because Rinpoche shared with us in the beginning about how, irrespective of suicide, how when people pass away, that you can influence them by doing deeds in their names or dedicating it to them. So these, the pujas, annual puja or the 21 days puja for after a person dies, and how a poor man who's not financially so well-to-do has a difficult time to do, maybe even conduct an annual puja or to have those 21 days of puja for the deceased. Anything that Rinpoche can share on this?
I think, first of all, before we talk about Rimdro, I think we have to understand what is the purpose of Rimdro.
Yes.
So whatever we do in the Buddhist, whether it's a Rimdro or a practice, Samchamni, Nekor Chamni, cannot deviate from the three essence of Buddhism we talk about: positive karma, purifying negative karma, and taming the mind. So even when we are doing Rimdro, basically we are doing that. So even the Rimdro we might say is for the, whether it's for deceased people, whether we are sick. For example, I believe it was Chapji Tunjun Rinpoche's teaching, he said that the inner cause of the sickness is one's own ledang yemongpa, negative karma and negative emotion. Outer condition is negative spirit or imbalance in the body or whatever. These are the outer conditions. So when we are doing a Rimdro, we are basically trying to again purify the negative karma accumulate the merit, and then transform the mind. So that is the Rimdo. So the best Rimdo is actually when you don't have to ask anybody to come and do. You respect the law of the karma, do practice. That's why Milarepa said that when I die, don't ask any lam for poa. I don't need any poa. I have everything. That is the best way. But I guess for us, we can't be like Milarepa, so we have to request the great monks, and the lam chopsi to come and do. But at the same time, I think it's important for us to, by understanding the essence of the Rimdo, I think we have to kind of, if you understand the Rimdo, then I think some of the way things we do will change. For example, right now, I believe sometimes, even though His Holiness Chekhenpo has repeatedly given us advice that Rimdo is all, we should not be eating meat. Right? But still, I think maybe they don't serve the chops meat, but maybe outside they're having a meat. I don't know. I have never been to Rimdo that much. So in case if we are doing that, then inside we are trying to accumulate merit, purify the negative karma of eating meat, killing, whatever. And then outside we are accumulating the negative karma. So that's because I think we didn't understand. And also I think if we understand the essence, then I think we will also understand that Rimdo can be done in many different ways. If you are very wealthy, you can do it in a grand way. Ask the very monks, Lamchop to come, do it very wealthy. If you are not very wealthy, you can do it in a smaller way. And if you don't have even that, as long as you yourself can do the Rimdo yourself also, it's not completely unacceptable. For example, you can say that instead of doing that puja and costing some, I'm going to I'm going to be vegetarian for 1 month. I'm going to do Benza Guru for 1 month. I'm going to do Nekor. Because that's also a Rimdo. Diktip Chang, purification bill. I remember that in Singapore, one friend of mine, she an elderly friend. She was saying that for a long time she wanted a child, but as soon as she's with the child, she loses the child. She loses the child. So she was very sad. And she is a devout Mahayana Buddhist and prayed to Chenrezig a lot. So she made a vow to, I guess she doesn't know the Rimdo part, she's not our kind of. So she prayed to Chenrezig that from now on, my entire life, I am not going to eat meat. And by that, may I purify the negative karma by which I cannot have children. May I have a child who will live. And then she got a child, which is still alive till now. So that is her Rimdo. So because I think once you understand the Rimdo is about purifying negative karma, accumulating merit and transforming your mind, you'll automatically know that there's many other options. Even the Buddha, we say, offer the kingdom. If you don't have, offer a bit of grass and light it. If you don't have that, offer from your mind. To Buddha, it is the same. It's not about what he wants. So I think that once you understand that, I think we can be a little bit more flexible.
Yes. And these are questions that I got on the web. I have another follow-up question, which is nowadays, and I think in the past it wouldn't have been an issue because there was no media. So whatever was there was confined to that secluded area. But nowadays, there are, say, of the same Lama or of the same Rinpoche, there are 2 or 3 tukus and Rinpoches. So how are we to understand this? If Rinpoche can share something along these lines.
Well, I mean, I guess decisions that we take in life, I guess, has to be spiritual and practical as well. So practically, is it good to have 2 Rinpoches or not? I don't know. That I think we have to decide ourselves. Right? And practically also, because some people might even say, the 2 Rinpoches is so difficult. Just in getting one from 2 Rinpoches, I don't have even time to practice. Practically, it is too much head. They might say, that, I live very close to this Rinpoche, this reincarnation, so I believe in this reincarnation, I respect him. But from a Buddhist point of view, as long as somebody has been recognized in a very genuine way by great master, or by themselves, from the spiritual point of view, there is no basis to say that there cannot be more than 2 reincarnations. In the in the Umajupa, it is said very clearly that when you become a bodhisattva of the first bhumi, you are able to manifest into 100 manifestations. when you're bodhisattva of the second bhumi, I think it's 200 or 2000. And when you become an enlightened Buddha, then you can have countless manifestations. So if we can say from practical point of view, I believe only in this reincarnation, but from the spiritual point of view, we cannot disrespect. So my suggestion is practically you can follow whoever is closer to you, easy to you, but from the respect point of view, I think we have to respect whatever the reincarnations are there. Some things are beyond us. But if you go a little deeper into psychology of why it is hard to understand the concept of true Rinpoche, it's because of our belief that ego exists. Since we believe that self exists, and we judge others from our point of view, say, how can there can be two of me? And we have very strong concept that I exist. So I am here, how can I be there? So they think the same of the Rinpoches. But if you are actually enlightened, you have beyond the concept of you have realized that there is actually no I. So when you don't have that, you are not bound by the same rule. So that's why we have example of the many manifestations like a same moon that is reflected in 1,000 ponds. So these 1,000 ponds are the reincarnations. So I think from my point of view, ultimately is to respect all the masters, no matter how reincarnated they are. They might be great masters. Follow, I guess, according to practicality.
This is a question I ask all my guests, and especially to Rinpoches, because whenever we go live, we get a question which is there a shortcut to nirvana? So same question to Rinpoche, is there a shortcut to nirvana? And if there is, what is the shortcut?
Actually, shortcut to nirvana is the Vajrayana. That is the Vajrayana if you can practice. And within 1 life, or within even 1-2 days also, it is possible. And among the most, especially within the Drupal lineage, we say that among all the practice, most important is the Guru Yoga practiced. So of course nowadays many people don't understand the Guru, what it Guru means. They think it just means following a master. But actually it is a process. First you understand your Guru as Buddha, then you understand Buddha as emptiness, wisdom, and then you understand that wisdom and your nature of the mind is inseparable from the beginning of time. So Buddha is not somebody so far away, but in your Guru. And Guru is not so far away, but your own nature of the mind. So the practice of the Guru Yoga is actually the most fastest way to get enlightened. But at the same time, most difficult also. Yes. Because we all like to do what we want. We don't want to follow anyone.
Finally, is there, although everything that Rinpoche shared with us, if we were to just analyze a single sentence also, it could be taken as an instruction or a daily sadhana. Is there like a daily sadhana or a method that Rinpoche would share with the viewers that we can incorporate in our day-to-day lives?
Well, I think, as I was saying earlier, that Bhutan's spiritual heritage, and Bhutan owes a lot to Guru Padma Sambhav and Shabdru Rinpoche. And Shabdru Rinpoche is said to be manifestation or inseparable from our Luktiswara. So, and Guru Rinpoche himself, in Katang Dyoba, he said that Traba Longdu, Tuji Chempo Tong, Semochun Mezo Guru Tong, Yazon Ki Ngai Lurong. Morning you do the Chenrezig practice, evening Guru Rinpoche practice. Even if you go into lower realm, I, Guru Padma Sambhav, have taken, I swear that I will come and take you out from the 3 lower realms. So I think these 2 should be the daily practice of any Bhutanese. But my only kind of the additional thing I'd like to suggest that every practice that we do should somehow reflect on ourselves in our daily life. For example, when we are doing the Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum is to liberate the beings of the 6th realm, and the cause of being in the 6th realm is the desire, anger, jealousy. So I think whenever we are, for example, when we are doing money and on the suffering of the hungry ghost who are born because of extreme attachment, we also have to feel sorry for the hungry ghost, but also sorry for ourselves. It is because of our attachment and desire that we are never satisfied. Somehow, even if we have everything, we have depression, we feel we are not good enough, something is not enough, weather is not good enough, it's too sunny, it's also unlimited desire. So I think that when we are doing prayer for the hungry ghost and their cause, which is desire, we should also be feeling very sorry for ourselves. We are also caught up in the prison of these 6 prisons of emotion, negative emotion. So if you do like that, at end of the Benza Guru, end of the Om Mani Padme Hum, you will come out a little bit, I think, a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more wiser. Instead of just doing Benza Guru and hoping that Guru Rinpoche will do everything. That you don't have to, even maybe you can even think whatever thought, just chant the Benza Guru. I think if you can infuse that with the devotion, compassion, and also self-reflection, then I think every sadhana will be more meaningful, in my opinion.
Finally, any closing remarks from Rinpoche?
Actually, only closing remark is firstly to thank you for giving me this opportunity, because as a Buddhist master, it's our duty wherever we are in the world to share the knowledge. But especially in Bhutan, I feel very honored because, as I was saying earlier, because His Holiness Chekhenpo, Their Majesty's kindness, I was able to study in Tango for many times. It's for a long time. Even now, I'm receiving teaching from them. So a little bit of knowledge I have is from them, and the kindness of Bhutan. So if I can share a little bit, and if it helps the youth of Bhutan, who are the future of the Dharma, who are future of the spiritual heritage holder of the Bhutan, then that is, I think, my kind of great joy to me. So my closing remark is thank you very much.
In closing, BBS Channel 2 would like to thank all our viewers, and we would like to convey our deepest gratitude to Rinpoche for accepting our request and making time for us. I would also like to remind you again that there is an email account, jangchubshing@bbs.bt, where you can send us your questions and feedback, and we will ask your questions as and when we host our show. We are also on Facebook. Just search for Jangchub Shing, and don't stop yourself from liking or sharing our page and posts. And yes, we have started uploading our programs on YouTube as well, and we would like to further encourage our viewers to watch our shows on YouTube as well. A final reminder to all our viewers, as expressed by my illustrious guests and by Rinpoche also today very eloquently echoed the same essence of what the Buddha Dharma is, which is Dikpachia Machashing, Gewapinsum Soparache, Rangisim Nyon Sudil Tinisangetembai, to commit not a single non-virtuous act, commit as many virtuous acts as possible. Tame your mind and you're a Buddha. We are 24/7 now, so stay tuned. From the production team here at Druk, Ralung, Shedrup Chiling, Kabisa Thimpu, and everybody here at BBS Channel 2, thank you for watching, take care, and don't forget our Jangchub Shing slogan, analyze and realize.